Dun, dun, ta-la. Woo! Dun, dun, ta-la. Dun, dun, ta-la, dun, ta-la, dun, ta-la. Rejoice today. Ooh! Rejoice today. Who wants flowers over there? I'm going to throw these flowers to you. For me, Yantute, he has taken me.
Oh, yes.
So, if you're there, you are single, you have been waiting, this could be your season, this could be your time. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 10 years down the road, we are celebrating our 10th anniversary.
Oh, yes.
And let me just say, congratulations, my darling.
Thank you. Congratulations too.
So my friends over there, I am back today. Today I want to be humble girl. Today I want to be jolly. I am in other moods just because of one thing. Because of him, my friend, my husband,
Yeah.
and for 10 years we have been together. And so today I'm using all the tenses like love, loving, loved. And so I want to take this very opportunity to welcome the one and only Reverend Anthony Kamkama, who is also my husband. You're welcome. These people are waiting to hear from you. 1 or 2 things. At least you have been with me for 10 years.
Thank you.
And congratulations upon our 10th anniversary. One thing I want to really recall, I want you to help me recall our days of courtship, because as far as I remember, they were precious. Anything that you remember?
Yeah, of course, so much I remember about our courtship. Of course, number one, which is key, was that day I met you the first day. I think we were 2 different groups, ministry groups. When you guys came to visit us at Abide, that is Gates Girls Empowered to Serve, and you came to meet us at Abide. And of course, you remember when you guys arrived, then you were to lead us in some praise and worship. And incidentally, you were leading. And when you started leading, my dear, I got stuck. I got stuck.
Keep talking, keep talking.
I got stuck because one of the things I used to like as a single man, I was looking forward to getting a lady who is a worshiper. And when you started worshiping, that was a hook. But of course, then your looks, you're beautiful, you're charming, and so I was emotionally and physically taken.
I will ask you this question again, such that you keep repeating.
Yeah, so that was it, and I can't remember that. And something you may not even remember is when we came to the Abide boards, when we came to visit you in Mbarara, where you were at your home, the Gates, and when we came, so you were teaching us how to bake. Some boys were learning that. So all of us were into that. But then later, we are going to help Aunt Mabel to cut those dried banana leaves. I invited you intentionally so that we can, have a first-time conversation. You remember when you came to visit, we never talked. So this time, I wanted to prove that. So when I invited you, I would cut, and then you helped to arrange these. And of course, that was a very prime moment, because that was the first time for me to engage in a little bit conversation for more than 5 minutes. Yeah, so.
I didn't know it was such fun.
So it's worth remembering.
I didn't know it stuck in your mind. Anyway, let me even not go so much in the courtship. But you people, it's the Lord who told me that one day he was going to come and propose to me. You can imagine, you have seen a boy, there's a bit of some small feelings, but then you have a dream and you're like, God is showing you one day he's going to come and propose. But what was really heartbreaking was one day when I called you and I had reported at university, and I called you, man, you were saying you were going to study from UC. Have you reported? And you told me, woman, I am still here in Imbarara. I have not even reported at campus. From that day onwards, I thought to myself, God, you lied to me. This is not my man. For me, I am at campus. Someone is just there, senior 6 leaver, just there. In my heart of hearts, you are going to lose me.
Yeah, thank God who fought for me.
So
Yes.
thank God who fought for you. Yeah, but also...
But you're trying to tell me
Yeah.
that when you called me and you realized I had not joined university, so you gave up on me in mind.
In my mind, I was like, how will it ever come true? Where is this man ever going to get money, take care of me, to pay this and this? But the love was there. So, in my heart of hearts, I was asking myself, how will it ever come true and then you marry me? But thank God, in his mercies, we are together.
We have married each other.
We have been together for 10 years now. But there is really what some people and myself sometimes wonder about. Almost all the time, they introduce you at church, or you are the preacher. You introduce your wife. You're not the only one. But the preachers, the pastors, they can introduce the wives, and you're like, ah, goodness Lord, are they just seeing each other for the first time? So for you, sometimes when you're introducing me, I'm like, goodness Lord, that is too much. So what are you always thinking about as you say my name out?
No, you see, it's not about what I'm thinking about. But I think that one comes voluntarily, because you know my story, and one of the things you remember that intrigued you to praying for me was when I was preaching at Abide graduation, and you heard my story that I'm homeless, I have no parents.
At Abide graduation, the viewers might not know, but you were there in senior 6 vacation.
Yes.
Yes, that's when you were in discipleship class and you were sharing your story.
So I think, so if you remember my story, I had always lived a life of loneliness. I was always lonely. And for me, it was a miracle. It is a miracle up to now. Because given the conditions I had lived in my past, being homeless, being a street kid in Ishaka town, a drug addict, I indulged into smoking, taking all drugs. It's a terrible life that, if you want to follow that story, you Google in Reverend Anthony Kamkaba. It's recorded somewhere. But now that someone who had always been lonely and poor, you know, it is one thing to be lonely and to be poverty. I was not only poor, but I was poverty. And many times I tried on serious girls for friendship, but knowing my story, I'm poor, no one really would give me attention. But now I find this beautiful girl with a powerful background. You have a dad, you have a mom, you have been in a home setting, and you are saying yes to me. So to me, that was a turning point, you know, and to have someone to love me. And you know, when you don't have money, even you might assume you are really very ugly. I used to think I'm ugly.
Who told you?
So there are some people who say, they used to abuse me with terrible words I cannot mention here.
Sorry.
Yeah, so, and I used to think, really, I'm not deserving someone. But when I met you, charming, beautiful, on point, and finally you said yes, and the Lord had already spoken to you in the dream. So to me, every time I want to have you around, you remember even when we had just gotten married, I'd wanted to take you out every weekend. It's only you who used to refuse. By the way, you guys, I've never seen a lady who refuses outings like this. So, but these days, she has improved. So that's why even in the first year of marriage, remember, I had wanted us to be out all the time. When we are moving, I'm holding your hand. Sometimes you pull it off because you are scared, but I think these days you're... So it is from that point that you see me, I want to introduce you, because you're part of my life, and you have given me life companionship, and I know you love me, and of course I love you.
Thank you. Whoever told you that you were poor and you were poverty, really scared you a lot. These people, today we are making 10 years, I will tell them this story. At our day of really wedding, when everyone had moved out, listen to this. This man here, Reverend Anthony Kamukama.
Are you going to say that? Okay.
He looked at me. I looked at him. He busted and cried.
Yeah.
You can't even believe. Why were you crying?
Yeah.
Okay, me, I know you told me, but they need to know. Really? Why were you crying?
Yeah, of course, there were two things. Number one, of course, remember we had a great day, and being wedded by the most right reverend. So that was also a huge blessing that an archbishop would really wed a street kid.
Bishop Rukorombi.
Yes, and
we are forever grateful.
Amen, amen. So when we had a powerful day, and then of course this time around I had even gotten a family, and I have a father who stood in, met me somewhere and said, from today I've adopted you as my son. And he also contributed immensely to the great day. And we had a powerful day, powerful reception. And then finally everyone else goes and we are in our room. Now, two things came in mind. One, I thought, me, now I have a woman. I have someone to share a life with. Two of us in the room, looking at you, how you are looking amazing the whole day in that powerful gown. And I'm like, this is mine? Are you sure, God? So that made me cry. There were tears of, joy and excitement. But then fear also came in. Now, you remember I told you. Now,
listen, members, listen.
Fear came in. Now I was like, Now, you've got someone's daughter. For you are used to a life of hustling and struggle. And now, how are you going to feed this girl? How are you going to maintain her? So I looked at her. What am I going to feed her? So I was worried. And if you remember, the next day I went and bought, were they 50 kilograms of rice? With some of the monies I had reserved.
We shall tell you more details later. But the guy was fearing to take care of me, especially what we shall eat, what we shall like. But I prayed. I really honestly prayed that the Lord will provide for us food such that I will not be a burden to him. And for sure, for these 10 years, the Lord has really provided that even you who is watching, if you ever find time, come and visit me. There will be food. There will be food for you to eat.
And maybe the audience, what they need to know, the power of prayer.
Yes.
Because later on, we held hands and we started praying about so many things. And the beauty that the Lord, did for both of us is giving us what we call compatibility. That in the area of prayer, I'm a man of prayer and you are a woman of prayer. And over time, you have prayed about so many issues. And one of them was God's divine providence in terms of food.
Sure.
And I can tell you, friends, God has answered our prayers. He has provided. Hallelujah. Yes.
Okay, thank you for that. I hope you have your part really to learn. Don't fear to marry because you're poor or what. You're still looking for this and that. Some things will find you there. So today, and even other days, I've been really reading about marriage because marriage is an area of interest for me. These members, they don't know that when I was just 3 years in marriage, the Lord gave me an assignment to start a young marrieds fellowship. And that fellowship has been there and is still there. Soon I'm going to recruit new members. So if you are a young married there, you are a young mother, at least 1 year, 2 or 3 years in marriage, I will be calling you to join in. Be ready, Vera Kulutimbe. I will call you. Yeah, but I have discovered that of late, there is a lot of divorce happening. Actually, the researchers have discovered that 7% of the Ugandans, they divorce at least in 4 years. And to be precise, they were saying that 370,000 people divorce each year. Each year. Those are not few people. But according to you, for the few years you have been in marriage, what do you think causes divorce?
Now, of course, responding to this, it's not only the years I've been in marriage, but also the years I've been in pastoral ministry. Because the cases of divorce, I've encountered them also in my pastoral counseling. And so I think one of the causes of divorce, I would say, as a pastor, primarily it is Satan. Because the Bible is very clear in the Gospel of John, chapter 10, verse 10, that the thief comes only to steal, kill, and destroy. And he's the architect of all these evils. And forgive me for going into the Bible so much, but this is it.
It's our guide, so we
the
move
book of
with it.
Revelation,
Yes.
the book of Revelation, friends, chapter 12, from verse 7, it gives us the narrative of the pre-time events that happened. How the devil was hurled out of heaven with a third of the angels because of rebellion. And they descended on earth to come and lead the world into deception and rebellion. And a voice was heard in heaven saying that, woe unto the inhabitants of the earth, because the adversary and accuser of the brethren has been. But then hope is given again on verse 11, where it says, but they overcame him. Him is a reference to the devil. They is a reference to the born again, to the married is now also. They overcame him by the word of their testimony and by the blood of the Lamb of God. So, number one, what hits marriage to that 370,000 who break, it is the devil. The devil who sows the seed of sin and lustful desires and all evils, impatience and unforgiveness and all these things, when they have they capitalize in our lives, then will result in such. But also, number two, let me tell you, there are some married couples who really invest less into their relationships. When you do not invest in your relationship,
nothing to harvest.
because for you are a businesswoman.
Yes.
You're a businesswoman.
Yes.
And many times I've heard you telling
Even
me,
tell them to come and buy coats, dresses.
oh, these are part of the things that she sells. Now, at times I've heard you saying, but my capital is going low. Can you help me? Can you? So, capital is the key. Capital is the key. So, if you do not invest in your marriage, in your relationship, you just leave it flat. Did you know there are some married couples? There are some people who really stopped. They invested when they were in courtship. Or investing in terms of, let me take her out. Investing in terms of enhancing on the communication.
Even enjoying time together.
Time together, quality time. Recently, I was counseling a couple who stay in London and they were coming to Edian in Uganda. And the lady actually, when I asked, tell me about some of the spices that you need to add in your marriage, she says, we need quality time. I picked that. Quality time is very key. So, sweetheart, when you do not invest in your marriage, it can actually die. It can be stunted. You may not have capital for that business to progress. So those are some of the two things. Maybe you want to add something.
Anyway, me when we were speaking, like that it's the devil that really brings about the thoughts of divorce. I also remembered one scenario. Actually, I wanted to ask you that as a pastor, have you ever encountered points that can cause you to think, yeah, I can leave this wife?
Yeah.
But I have spared you of that question. You will tell me in case you have what to say about that. But I remembered one scenario. By the way, the devil does not even fear pastors. It's just that we have to keep on working and working and working. So there's one day, you people, when we had some quarrel.
Some disagreement, yeah.
Some disagreement, then we quarreled a bit. Then
A bit, yeah, not so much.
Okay, if you want to know whether it was so much or little,
They will inbox you.
keep listening. Then when I was busy cooking my water to go and take tea, I was going to pass like via sitting room. I saw the man moving away. Then afterwards, when the anger had gone, I was like, man of God, you were running away from me. Then he was like, the moment he heard the sound of the kettle in the kitchen, and then I came out holding the kettle in my hands, remembering we had had disagreements before. So in his heart of hearts, he was busy thinking, I'm going to pour the water on him.
Yeah, of course, Mami, remember, we had
Certain.
we had really not agreed on a particular point. Yeah, a little quarrel, like you said, and that is I even remember that was 2015, and we are staying those ends of Kabaragara.
Compatibility. We are trying to understand
Try
each
to
other.
connect.
That was 1 year
to
in
master
marriage.
each other's feelings.
Yeah, sure.
And of course, you remember, I'd also been warned that the Muchiga woman, you have to be careful
Can
with
it
her.
treat you?
So we had a little quarrel, and then I see you. What surprise! You remember I was seated in the sitting room watching something on the TV, and then we are not talking, and this is
Then all of a
2015.
sudden,
I see you holding kettle with boiling water, and what came to my mind is, hey, this fellow is going to pour. So I took off. I was near the door
run for your life.
and then she's like, hey, what's wrong with you? Say, you want to pour this? She laughed because this is something that had not crossed her mind, but because of my, so.
Yeah, so you people, it's really been hard work.
Yeah. But over time, it is some of these disagreements, when you get married in the first 5 years, it is even 10, it is the time of bonding. It is the time of interconnecting. It is the time of learning and unlearning. Okay? So over time I've kept on, learning new things of you. There are some of the beautiful things, spices in you that I had not seen in the 2 years of a marriage, in the 7th year of a marriage. There are some of the spices and great ingredients in you that have come out in our 10th year and in our 9th year. And some of them have taken me to dig them out. So marriage is amazing, isn't it?
Yes, we can talk about marriage from now, tomorrow, and forever. But just before we leave you, our friends should know that, yes, marriage is hard work, but if you keep on working and praying to God, you can really make it. Let's try to stay keen, and then we make sure we are moving in line to building our marriages. Our slogan for my young marrieds group is, together we build our marriages. And so what advice could you give to someone watching over there who is tired of marriage, who is like at the verge of divorce, and they are thinking, let me just wait for this week, or for next year I will leave this man, or I will leave this woman. Some men are even just going away from their wives and they disappear just like that. So just tell them, now, what should they do?
You see, you cannot afford to lose your marriage that you have. You remember I talked about investment. So friends, do whatever it takes to invest in your marriage. And now let me tell you, especially for those of you that have been ushered in holy matrimony, when you get to a level and you are deciding, let me divorce, do you know what you are saying? You are saying it is okay to be born again and accepted by God, and God can refuse me forever. Because marriage is the gospel. Marriage is the gospel. Which gospel? Because in marriage, we are metaphorically projecting the final wedding of the Lamb. The bride is the church, and the bridegroom reflects Christ. So in marriage, we are actually preaching that gospel. Every time I'm wedding a couple, I remind the congregants of such that this is not the end in itself. This is a reflection of the final banquet when we, the church, putting on the gown of righteousness. Now, which righteousness? The forensic righteousness which comes from Christ. We are given that righteousness as a gown, and then we are waiting, prepared every day as you wake up, as you go to church every Sunday, as you pray and fast, as you forgive your wife, as you forgive your husband. You are doing that, waiting for the husband, our husband Jesus Christ, to come and tie a knot. And Jesus will not divorce us. So when you choose to divorce, you are like saying it is possible also Christ to divorce his church. So that is it. So it is important to understand that.
Okay. I thank you.
Yes.
I can see you are in spirit.
Yeah.
We are moving and moving.
Yes.
But there is some woman there, there is some man there whose partner has been cheating, whose partner has been beating. They are not communicating. They are not understanding each other. They are not compatible. So how should they deal with such things?
Forgiveness.
Forgiveness.
Yes, madam.
More than
Forgiveness is very key. I don't know how many times you have forgiven me for us to reach the 10th year. And there are also so many times I have forgiven you.
But I've forgiven you more.
Yes. It's okay. And thank you for forgiving me and continue to forgive me. So forgiveness is very key. Please, really, if you get annoyed of your partner, if your partner makes a mistake, before even you think of divorcing, I want to encourage us to create more time of reflection. Concentrate on some of those beautiful moments that you have spent together in the past. The beautiful things that your partner has done for you. Before you even look at their negatives, okay? We call that in literature nostalgia feelings. You long for that beautiful past that you have shared with your fellow. And I want also to encourage you. At times, in case I annoy you, I don't intend, it may come. Before you even think of those beautiful moments we've shared together, you know, those outings, you remember the outing at Lakeview, at the seashore, remember those beautiful moments. And secondly, before you divorce the fellow, is my life going to be better when I have divorced? Or it is going to be worse if I forgive and I stay? If the fellow is every night is putting out a panga and is threatening to end your life, at least when it comes to life. So for me, I would really conclude on that matter, proposing that the solution is to forgive one another. Okay? When you have weighed a life outside marriage and within marriage, but also you have opted to forgive each other. And in case you who led into that disagreement, who caused this hurt, be willing as a partner to walk to your fellow and say, I'm sorry. And then be able to reconcile and forgive each other. And I think that's where we can move forward. But I can tell you, it is between both of us that it is required of us that we work on our marriage.
True. Thank you so much for visiting us today. The viewers are going to tell me whether you should visit us next month. You'll be there praying for us that our marriages shall work. Otherwise, I congratulate you upon making 10 years with me. Amen. And I want to tell the viewers that it's not as easy as you think, that every day is blue band and butter and bread, but it is really hard work. Sometimes when they say you are pastor's wife and maybe you're talking to other ladies, it's like for you, you don't have any hassles you go through. But indeed, it really takes forgiveness, like he said. It really takes vulnerability, acceptance. For example, when I had just met you, Sebo, I didn't know that you are too serious. Every time you would meet me, we would laugh and chat. I didn't know that when you are reacting with other people you're not used to, you are too serious. Until we got visitors and they were like, what have we done to Reverend? He seems not happy. Then after some time, I realized he's like that. The guy grew up alone, at some point on the street, at some point in other people's homes. And so sometimes we have to adjust, because the life we have grown in from sometimes can tell what we'll be like in future. So we have just reminded you of the things that you actually knew. Yeah, but we are glad you watched until the end. Thank you so much. So you're waiting for what? Simply go ahead, subscribe, share. Thank you again. If you have been following us from the time we started until now, I can't thank you enough, but we love you. Keep tuned in here. We are learning on this channel. Unique lifestyle is all we are looking at. And please, don't forget to share. Why can't I love him again? Love him again. Love him again.
Amen.
Until next time.
Bye-bye.